it would be hard to find a movie with a more difficult production history than The Flash. Now, while a film centering on this character has been in various stages of development at Warner Brothers since the 1980s, the current incarnation of the superhero was announced in 2014 with Ezra Miller in the title role. Now, at the time, the movie was expected to debut in 2018, and, well, seeing that it's now 2023, it should come as little surprise that The Flash was hit with setback after setback. This production has gone through 5 different filmmakers, a rumored 45 different script writers, and multiple reshoots. And then 2022 came around, and lead actor Ezra Miller, well, he got in some trouble. He was arrested 3 times for disorderly conduct and harassment, assault, and felony burglary. Additionally, a woman and her 12-year-old child were granted a temporary restraining order against Miller amid reports that the actor had threatened them. And multiple people have also given accounts of Miller grooming minors. The alarming behavior reportedly extended to Flash's production, during which they had frequent meltdowns on set. Now, in current Hollywood, people have been canceled for much less. So it leads me to wonder if Miller has pictures of somebody powerful, or if he knows where the bodies are buried. And lastly, the production budget of this film is somewhere in the area of $250 to $300 million, making it the most expensive movie ever made in the DC universe. Add that to the fact that the entire universe is being rebooted, and none of these characters will be seen, at least anytime soon, with their current performers. Well, it's surprising that this movie was even ever released. But it was, and last weekend gave us, finally, the release of the Flash movie. So let's talk a little bit about this, and of course, I will not spoil too much for you. So our movie begins with the Flash assisting Batman and Wonder Woman in stopping a terrorist attack on a hospital. Now, Barry revisits his childhood home, and he remembers his childhood with his parents, Nora and Henry, before Henry's wrongful imprisonment for Nora's murder. Overcome by his emotions, Barry accidentally travels back in time to earlier in the day, and when he returns, he informs Bruce Wayne about this. Now, despite Bruce's warnings that time travel can have unintended consequences, Barry goes back to the day of Nora's death and prevents it from happening. As Barry returns to the present, he is knocked out of the Speed Force by another speedster and ends up in an alternate 2013 where his mother is still alive. He then, however, meets a younger version of himself. When he assists this younger version in obtaining his Speed Force powers, he, the older Barry, loses his own powers. Things get worse for him when, being trapped in this reality, General Zod returns. Now, there's no other superheroes to help. At this point, the Flash looks to coax a very different Batman out of retirement and hopes to rescue an imprisoned Kryptonian from Siberia, thinking that it is Superman. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's pro and con time. For the pro, let's start with what made so many people excited to see this movie: the return of Michael Keaton as Batman. And I love his take on the role, because we're not seeing him play him as a younger Batman, as we did back in 1989. We're seeing him play him as a grizzled and disillusioned person who is forced out of retirement reluctantly. But it's still awesome to see him jump into the costume, deliver his patented "I'm Batman" line, and you could really tell he was enjoying himself reliving this part. He slips back into it like no time has passed. I also really enjoyed Sasha Calle's portrayal of Supergirl. Now, this is 2023, and we've seen way too many times a female superhero being infallible and just absolutely perfect, but we don't see that here. This character is damaged by what she has been through. She needs help at the beginning to regain her strength. And even at the end, when she is clearly fighting hard, doing everything she can, she's just outclassed by the bigger, stronger, and more evil General Zod. I wouldn't mind seeing her play this role again. I think it would be interesting, but I highly doubt that we're going to ever see her play this role again. And I honestly really did enjoy the final battle at the end of the movie. Now, without spoiling too much, we see the Flash attempting over and over and over again to reset the battle by traveling back into the past and becoming more desperate with each failure. I think it's pretty well done. I think it's pretty emotional. Also, there are a ton of Easter eggs and cameos and throwbacks to very old DC properties and characters. And I think that it works. I think that not everybody will recognize them, but enough people will, and I actually think most people will. And now for the cons. Again, 2023. You would think that in a movie with this budget, the special effects would be perfect, but they are not. They're sloppy. I was shocked at how bad they were throughout the entire movie. If you go back and look at early Marvel films, go back 15 years ago and check out Iron Man. Special effects in that are infinitely better than this. I've seen better special effects on TV shows. Also, let's talk about Miller. Now, this isn't too much of a con because I thought he did decent playing both his older and younger self, but it does get a bit grating at times. And he is definitely propped up by his co-stars. He's not bad, but I don't think he's a strong enough performer to carry the film on his own, and that's why this movie was loaded up with other characters. Also, and this is just a personal thing, his running style is distracting. I mean, couldn't somebody teach this man how to run? I don't know. It's just odd. So how do I score this movie? I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, which surprises me because I went into this movie with really low expectations. I actually thought I was going to dislike it, and I found myself enjoying it much more than I thought. It's fun at times, serious at others, and does deal well with some sensitive themes like loss and recognizing when you need to, despite your best efforts, admit that you cannot win. No, it's not perfect at all. As with all of these modern superhero movies, it is way too long. The special effects are terrible. And again, please, I'm kind of done with multiverse themes. It just seems like that's all we see anymore, and it's kind of, I don't know, played out. So I recommend that you see this movie, but you don't have to go to a theater. The effects really don't warrant it. It's a fine but probably forgettable superhero movie. Stream it when you have a spare 2.5 hours, if that is something that you ever have. And as I say every week, if you like what you heard, click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. And if you did not like what you heard, I do thank you for giving me your time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.